Hey guys, this is Dr. Gallegos, and this is lesson 1-1, so chapter 1-1, and this one is called Points, Lines, and Planes, and it introduces us to our course in geometry as a nice start, a nice beginning to understand the different types of geometric figures. So what you see here is a chart, and we're going to use that chart to do a couple of things. We're going to use the chart to go through the names of different geometric figures, and then we'll use it to determine how we know what something is, right? So as I just said, a geometric figure is going to be a set of points. So that chart shows the basic geometric figures we're going to be using throughout our course, and then we have these things called postulates, which we'll talk about here as we get to the two different types of figures that we're going to look at. Okay, so very basic thing in geometry is a point. So a point is any location in space. So here's what it looks like. So a point kind of looks like a dot, right? So a point is any location in space, and it's got a name. In this case, its name is point A. Well, the symbol, I guess you could say, for a point is that dot that designates the point. But we don't really have a signal per se. Now, we have the next geometric figure is called a line. A line has a bunch of, as a matter of fact, infinite number of points, and it goes forever in two directions, right? Two directions. So you know something is a line if you see that it's got a direction here, a direction here, and that arrow means it goes to infinity, in this case to the left, infinity to the right. And a line can be named by 2 points on that line, and in this case we can name that line here line AB, or we can name it line BA. And you'll also notice that the symbol for line is this small symbol right there that you see, and that designates what is called the line. And so it does look sort of like this. All right, that would be the symbol for a line, and then the name or the letters that correspond to any 2 points on that line then would be underneath it. So line AB or line BA. All right, next we have a line segment. So slightly different than a line, because a line segment is going to stop. It's going to have what are called end points. And when you see an end point, that's what it looks like. It doesn't have arrows going into two different directions that go on for infinity. So we still name these very similarly to the way that we name a line, but we call it line segment AB or line segment BA, based on any 2 points on that line. Now, instead of, so the symbol for it is simply what is a line without the 2 arrows, designates that on top of the naming letters. Next we have array. Now array is going to be a part of a line, but it has one end point like you see here. So when you name array, you're going to name the end point first. So the end point here is B, so we're going to call it ray BA, ray BA. And notice here that array then is designated as such, but it's not going to have, so it's going to have an endpoint like you see here, and then it's going to have BA underneath it. So an endpoint with the letters, and then unlike you can name it in any direction, over here with array we're going to name it with the endpoint first. Okay, so BA in this case. Next we have a plane, and it doesn't really look like a plane, but it looks like a box, right? Or in this case, like what we call a parallelogram that we'll learn later on. But a plane is going to be a flat surface, and it has no thickness, and it can go infinity in all these different directions. So technically it covers all these directions, in this case 4. And you're going to name a plane with 3 of the corresponding letters, or you can name it by 1. In this case we're going to call it plane ABC. We don't have a symbol for that. Now, here's what's called a postulate. What a postulate means, that it's something that's going to be consistent all the time. It's true all the time about something. So postulate number one that's good to just kind of remember is that 2 points are going to determine only and exactly only one line. 2 points are going to make one line only. So 2 points, any 2 points in space are going to make one line only. Now, if you have 3 points and they're not on a single line, so 3 points, kind of like you see here on the plane, then it's going to make exactly one plane. So 2 points are going to make exactly one line, but that's postulate A, and then 3 points that are not in a single line are going to make what we call a plane. All right, now let's name 3 of the basic geometric figures that we see here. Okay, so here we have, a line, so we can say we have line DE, right? We can say that. What else do we have here? Okay, we can say line segment DE as well. Good job. Anything else? Yep. So we could say plane DEF. All right. So look at this postulate that we just talked about. So any 2 points are going to make a line. That was postulate 1, right? And then any 3 points that are not in a single line are going to make then a plane. That was the second postulate. So we named 3 of these basic geometric figures from that diagram. We found line DE, which was this guy right here. And then inside of DE, we found a line segment. It was DE. And then we found a plane. So you could also say we have point F in there as well, right? We could say we have point F, and you would be correct. All right, so let's see. Let's try to name the figure below here. And it says we're going to match the figure to one in the chart. This one has 1 endpoint. So if it has 1 endpoint, then the figure is a ray. You got it. It's got 1 endpoint. So then the endpoint then, so the sign or the sign for array is that. And remember, when we name array, we name it with the letter at the endpoint. So this is ray HG. Good job, ray HG. So we named it. It's a ray, and we named it with the endpoint at the end, and it's ray HG. So now it says draw line MN. So we're gonna draw it together anyway here. So draw line MN. So we go, and it's got 2 points there. So we drew line MN. What did we do? The symbol line is used for a line, right? This is the symbol. So that's what we drew together. The letters M and N are 2 points on the line. We drew those 2 points. And then we drew it, and then we labeled the 2 points. So we drew it. We drew the line MN. We know it's a line because it's got an arrow here that goes on forever. All right, it's going to be your turn, and that has been lesson 1-1, points, lines, and planes.